1 month in space is equivalent to 10 years on Earth of aging. We will look at cell analysis at a cellular level, and especially around rare diseases.
Does this cell get taken to space? How fast does it come back? How does it work?
It goes up hundreds of thousands of miles in the air to the space center. It allows for new drug molecules or monoclonal antibodies to develop better, be even just 0.1%, to develop and support pharma to a potential biomarker for a new drug that keeps the patient alive.
But they need to know what it does.
How we're going to do this is...
Gladiators, welcome back. Today I have a very special guest in the arena, and without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick Moloney. Patrick, welcome to the arena.
Thank you. Looking forward to this.
Me too. You came lastminute.com, but then I've been stalking you for the last 48 hours. It's like I know you very, very well. Welcome.
Good.
I was looking forward to seeing you. Tell me a little bit about you, your background. You're Irish. We were talking about the Moloney name. Yeah. Please tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, very proud Irishman, I must say, and it's a great nationality. We've good people. I think we're one of the first immigrants in the world, but anywhere around the globe you'll find Irish people. It's we're good people, and I'm a proud Tipperary man. So it's down south in Ireland, halfway between our capital of Dublin and Cork, and it's very famous for horse racing and equine industry. So we have a lot of locals from the UAE coming visiting Ireland, and a lot of Emirati doctors train in Ireland. And I don't think people know, I think 70% of the world's airlines are leased from Ireland. So
no idea.
For a small country, we punch, and we're number one in the world for education. So, wow. But now I'm based here in the UAE, and this is, I would call it my second home, but 7 years here now, and I'm very, very happy in this country.
Tell us a little about your background. You're a chemist.
Yeah, I'm a chemist. So I studied pharmaceutical science. I'm a sports guy at the end of the day, but studied pharmaceutical science. During my studies, unfortunately, I lost my mum very suddenly during unexpected. She was 53, so had to, as a family, make a decision to switch off her life support machine, which kind of drove me onto this business. And during my time in university, I was the vice president and student welfare officer just after her death. So I think that gave me a flair for business, but it really opened up how to help and support people. And maybe it was just before I finished my studies, a start to where this entrepreneurial journey went. And I studied as I said, a chemist, worked in industry. So worked in a big pharmaceutical company in Ireland, 5 years there, upstream, downstream, everything to do with drug discovery and development, and was really well trained. And then went to a very large multinational company who supplied all the equipment, the development workflows, the chemistries. And Ireland, I'm lucky because we grew up with pharmaceuticals. It's in our veins. I think for the last 70 years, we've had big pharma because of our location. We can hit America and Australia in the same day. We're the only English-speaking country in the Eurozone. I think Malta's the only other one, and our good neighbours decided to leave Europe, which we're good friends with from the UK, and we mentioned that you grew up there. So Ireland is very well positioned, and you know, when people look at Ireland, they're like, because it's of low tax. It's because we're the most educated, youngest, most educated, adaptable workforce in the world. And as I said earlier, we're the first immigrants in the world. So America claims that over, I think, 300 million claim or 30 million claim to be Irish. So we're everywhere. And St. Patrick's Day, you can see that.
Do you know, I love Ireland more now because of the stance they're taking over what's happening in the Middle East. So I love them even more.
Yeah, I think. Look, as I said, geopolitical and religious things, we all feel it no matter which country in the world you come from. But there should always be empathy for people and compassion. So for me, this is what P4ML's mantra is about, and we'll speak about that on this journey. But as I said, my kind of background, worked for a major multinational, did a lot of work in Pfizer in Dublin, one of the biggest biologic sites. So I was very lucky, I think, along my career and got good mentorship. Being able to go into big pharma like Lilly, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Ireland just has it all. And I will give credit to our Irish government and to the agencies that work semi-state that attract in foreign direct investment. But our education system is why we keep them there. And I'm very proud to be cut from that fabric.
I was a huge number of universities per head in Ireland, isn't there?
We are, I think that's again
Or the
something.
highest levels of.
We've got like 8 or 9 university hospitals. The oldest children's hospital comes from Ireland, and people look at Ireland, Guinness, but Guinness actually sponsored the Rotunda Hospital or the Coombe. So we're so good as a people when it comes to, again, empathy for the patient and best of healthcare. So that trickles across all of us. It's no different to the leadership in this amazing country. And I will say something. I'm in the UAE, and every one of the locals, the way they admire leadership. But when I was at Iftars and Ramadans this year, I've learned something about this nationality. I've actually learned a trait from the UAE locals. The respect the sons show towards their fathers. It's now rubbed off me because, I think some of us from Europe we take our parents for granted. There's a beautiful culture here, and I think Irish in the UAE are similar.
You value it more because you lost your mom. So
Yes.
what did she pass away from?
It was a medical misadventure. So, yeah, it was difficult. I know my family came back.
You would have been in your late teens, right?
I was
maybe 19 or so.
20 turning 21.
Okay.
And I remember we were getting a glimmer of hope. And then I went home to feed animals at home. I come from the countryside, and just as I got there, we just got news that there was a lot of doctors around her bedside. And
Why did she go to hospital?
again, it was after Christmas. I don't really want to discuss too much, but you can see my emotional side here.
It's okay to get emotional.
Yeah, well, it is, but it was a medical misadventure. But as a family, we had to...
Oh, did she have a headache? She went to hospital and the medical misadventures?
I don't know, was it cancer? Was it an internal bleed? But I feel it was a rare disease. That's what my family feel. It was an underlying disease that maybe we didn't know was there. But I know I've got
could
signs.
have been prevented, potentially.
Hopefully, that's what P4ML is about. That's why I'm in this business right now.
And your father, is he still with us?
My dad is the healthiest man. He's 84. He goes walking every morning. He's, as we'd say in Ireland, as tough as an old boot. But he's got his health, and again, he keeps himself active. And we're going to talk, I think, as well about longevity, but healthy aging. And just taking care of your body and minding yourself.
Let's go back a little bit. I'm just going to keep bringing you back.
Yeah.
You have siblings?
Yes, I have 4 sisters and a brother.
Are you the only one who's left Ireland?
No. One of my sisters was in Saudi Arabia back 10, 15 years ago. They're all in the medical space. And as I said, yeah, I'm the only one over here now in the UAE. The rest are back in Ireland. They're happy there. It's a good country.
You got the support. When you left, they go, oh, you're crazy, Patrick. What are you doing going to some Middle Eastern country?
Well, the Middle East is very different because how P4ML got established was our good neighbours in the UK left Europe. So we never expected GDPR to come in, which is a good thing. We never expected Brexit to happen in Ireland. And as a small country who relies on the UK, all our university students go there. Some of my sisters trained over there in the UK. It was a shock to our country. Like the US to our left, Brexit to our right. There's us stuck in the middle of you. It was kind of a joke with Ireland. But I think we adapted as a country. And for me, as I said, when I finished working for multinationals, I had 2 other very successful companies in Ireland. One was the Outstanding Small Business of the Year in Ireland. I didn't buy an award and I didn't pay for print. It was fairly merited. And I grew it really successfully.
What was that business?
I specialised in mass spectrometry, so that's my background. And for the layperson, that is understanding like a needle in a haystack or a grain of sand in the Sahara Desert. We'll find it. Everything from food fraud to narcotic testing to steroid analysis to inborn errors in metabolism. So that's what chemists do. We find that needle in a haystack.
So you're turning into, you were an employee.
Yes.
You became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
What was that? How was that change? And did you learn as you went along? Had you planned it well? Because when you have a successful business, you've got to scale very fast and you take risks. Please share that with us.
Yeah, well, look, as I said, I work for two major multinationals. I saw an opportunity in Ireland where we were going from small molecule, which is your Panadol or your Disprin, to large molecules, which are, our COVID vaccines or our cancer vaccines. I've been very fortunate. We'll speak about the Museum of the Future and the Dubai Future Foundation, but they gave me a really good platform last year to discuss what small and large molecule is. For the layperson, it's like a unicycle making a small molecule or a Panadol, and a large molecule is like the space center. Very complex, very hard to make. And Ireland transitioned from small to large molecules before probably most countries in the world, and we dominated.
For somebody who's not that educated, molecules, what does that mean?
It's the drug substance. It's what makes us feel better in life.
Okay.
So
because we're made up of molecules, right?
We're made up of trillions and trillions of cells. And
indeed. So please educate me. With COVID or aspirin, you developing molecules that attack your cells? Or?
So we will discuss about what we're planning to do in space. We actually had a fantastic... we work with a fantastic group in San Diego University, and they have an affiliation with SpaceX. This year at Investopia, we're a Future 100 company. I'm very proud to be a Future 100 company. And some of the work that we're going to focus on as P4ML, and we were the first in the UAE to bring this technology here and the first to talk about it, is we will look at cell analysis at a cellular level, like at a cell level, and especially around rare diseases. We need to use space to primarily look at how molecules and large molecules develop. It's called microgravity and protein crystallization. So we will take a single cell, a stem cell. Our collaborators in UCSD and SpaceX have developed brain organoids, which is like a miniature brain. It goes up hundreds of thousands of miles in the air to the space center. And microgravity is when you're weightlessness. It allows for new drug molecules or monoclonal antibodies to develop better. Here's a prime example. 1 month in space is equivalent to 10 years on Earth of aging. And our partners in America, they are working on Rett and David syndrome, which we work on as well, which is a very chronic and rare neurological disorder. And for our company, P4ML, as I said earlier, we work in pregnancy and newborn screening for really sick kids. And we want to be, for me, the mantra of my company is to be even just 0.1% to develop and support pharma to a potential biomarker for a new drug that may be a blockbuster drug, but keeps the patient alive, because that what brings me back to my mum's time. That's why I'm doing this.
Your desire, your driving force.
It's a legacy I want to leave behind.
I'm going to go back a little bit, because what's your USP? What's your unique selling proposition?
Well, our USP right now is resilience and grit. And I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs...
If I was an investor, and if I was a potential investor, and I said to you, I'm interested in investing in your company, what's different about you than anybody else in the marketplace?
This is a good question, and this is why I'm in the Middle East and why I'm in the UAE. I've come into one of the best countries in the world, and I want to step back to how I came into the UAE. So our company spun out of a big pregnancy and research centre in Ireland. As I said earlier, Brexit and GDPR happened. There was a need back in 2017 to run in-country analysis in Ireland. And one of our professors said, Patrick, we're writing a grant for multi-omics, which I'll speak about later. You have a laboratory. You need to run these tests because we can't send them to the UK anymore. I said no 5 or 6 times. Why would I? I've got a lab. I'm doing really successful in my own companies. And I saw her passion, and for me, I'm a very passionate guy. I'm very emotional. And she sat with me and she said, Patrick, we'll give you IP. We want you to do this for this country. And I'm Irish. it's like this gladiator, like we're tribal, everyone is tribal. And I said, I'll do it for my country, and I have always done it for my country, and I will bring this back to my country. And I took a chance as an entrepreneur. I took a risk. I was like, genomics is a really exciting space, but we don't know enough about it in Ireland.
What is it?
Genomics is breaking down, like for the layperson that may be on this Emirates flight today, is you've got 2 strands of DNA helix with lots of letters, A, C, G, T in different combinations, 3.2 billion letters in each strand, or 6.4 billion letters in your body. And genomics is basically to understand what letters make up a Patrick, or, I have one of my team here with me, one of the best ladies ever, Mathia, in my team. What makes up Mathia? What makes me and you unique? So that's what genomics is. It's a snapshot in time. But that's all it is.
Is that similar to DNA?
That is what genomics is. It breaks down your DNA. And then what I'm doing in multi-omics is...
So your laboratory did that in Ireland?
We set that up for what's called non-invasive prenatal testing, to understand the etiology of pregnancy and to support mom and baby on their journey. Not to intervene.
Indeed. So your laboratory or your data is collected from the mother and the fetus?
We support in clinical decisions with our clinician. We don't intervene. That was one of our first tests. We came into the UAE. We were brought into a program called the Dubai Future Accelerators. And I want to sincerely thank management in the Dubai Future Foundation, the Dubai Health Authority. The way the UAE think, no country in the world will catch up with them. They're a young country. We were brought in. We had about 7 interviews. I remember coming in here first when we spun out P4ML for Arab Health back in January 2018. As I said earlier, so many Emirati doctors train in our country. They're similar to us, similar culture. Relationship and trust is powerful to these people as it is to us. And we had a lot of interviews, and they were like, Patrick, we are going to do this bigger, better, and faster than any country in the world. And I was skeptical. I was like, there's no way. No, it's too young. We've got all the universities. We're arrogant Europeans. We look down sometimes, which is wrong. And I remember getting a call saying after about 6 really robust interviews, we want you in. The Crown Prince and the leadership in Dubai are going to change the world. And I just think it came at the right time with Brexit. We didn't know what was happening. And I remember coming in vividly to a great doctor, and I will mention his name, Dr. Mohammed Al-Reda, who trained in Ireland, who gave me that opportunity with his team. And it was like a hot knife through butter for 10 weeks. I'll never forget it. In Europe, we've too much red tape. We're too risk averse. The UAE are very smart about their decision-making process, but they opened up everything for us in a government entity. Patrick, here's the head of insurance. Here's the head of laboratories. Here's the head of pediatrics. They hand-holded me in. Prove it. Make it. Show us what you can do. And I remember at the end of that program, 10 weeks, getting the opportunity to sign a memorandum of understanding, which I didn't know what was in this country, and being very excited and going back, kind of skip hopping around the world. Oh, we're going to become the biggest company in the UAE. And then COVID happened. I was back in Ireland. Nobody expected this pandemic. And I remember speaking to my dad going, Jesus, Dad, all the hard work I did. And he's like, get up, dust yourself off, get on with it. He's like, drive on your business. He said, don't feel sorry. There's people that are sick. There's people there that can't travel. And I remember asking, should I come back into the UAE? And they were like, it's up to you. We're not endorsing this, but if you want to come in, we'll support. And going to my local doctor, begging for a PCR test. My doctor was like, there's nothing wrong with you. And I was like, I need a PCR test. That's what you call being an entrepreneur and being resilient. The lady put the swab, it nearly hit my brain cells in the back. And I remember getting the result going, I'm going back to the UAE. This country's got more than any other country. I felt safer coming in here. And I was me and 2 others on that Emirates flight. I didn't know what was ahead of me, but I came in. And my friends were like, you're crazy, you're bonkers. Nobody's going to run a pilot with you. We were the only healthcare company that came back through the Dubai Future Accelerators. Came back, ran a successful pilot. I mean, I vaccinated. I'm pro-vaccines. But I came back and I put my heart in my sleeve and I proved my grit and resilience, and I've not left this country. And I think I was respected. And again, to the leadership of the UAE, for any entrepreneur that wants to come in and do business, this is the country. I was given a golden visa, 10 years visa. I was made anything I asked for. The government has helped me so much in this country.
Yeah, it's incredible.
No other country in the
So
world.
what was the
this.
test?
It was again developing non-invasive prenatal testing as phase 1. Phase 2, which were...
Again, I want you to go back to real basic stuff. What's non-invasive? It's it's the litmus thing I put in my mouth?
It's a blood test that we take from the mum's arm between week 10 and 12. It gives more information to the clinician to give mom and baby better outcomes. As I said, we don't intervene during pregnancy. We validated that. The name of our test is called OLAS. In Gaelic or Irish, it means information and knowledge. We have a beautiful language.
Your uniqueness is the pulling out of a lot of data and giving it to the doctor.
I'll tell you our unique selling point, because I have not really touched on it, and I know the hour will pass here. Yeah. As I said, sitting in this country, speaking, and there's amazing things that happens in the UAE. And I was sitting in with some of the best companies in the world in the Dubai Future Accelerators and the Dubai Future Foundation. And 2018, my friends were like, you know what this Dubai Future or Dubai Fitness Challenge is? It looks fun, because I play a lot of golf. And I was like, let's go over to the DIFC, for people that don't know, the Dubai Financial Centre. And there was an indoor golf simulator. I spent 30 days. I got a couple of holes in one. I hurt my back on it, but it was so much fun. And I was like, I came back going, all these people around the city getting active for 30 minutes for 30 days. Why isn't any healthcare company looking at the number of nationalities that live in this great city, at the activities that the Crown Prince has given for free? And for people that don't know the UAE, and particularly Dubai, we've got 1,000 people getting off the plane every day calling this city home. It is the safest city in the world, and for the month of November, we have all across the city activities for everyone, from Pilates to jogging to high rocks to boxing and golf. And I met with, because we're very lucky in our office, we have all the government entities. I met with Dubai Tourism, and I was like, there's an opportunity here to build something much bigger than just a fitness challenge. And they were like, tell them, Patrick. Because they give us that. Dubai allows you enough scope to look at the next 10 to 20 years. 2071, we're in an area called 2071, to the 100 years of this country. And that's the way leadership look. Not in any other country will they look like this.
That's amazing, Patrick, and I feel exactly like you do. When I came to UAE, I felt there was a different kind of energy here. It's positive, it's optimistic, they're open to change. So please share with us, what's this massive change you're going to bring to humanity, to the future of medicine?
For us, I'll just echo what you said. You come into some geographies in the world where they see the future. I want to create the future as a company for all the right reasons. And it will resonate because we are a Future 100 company, like one of the best companies in the UAE for the last 2 years. What I want to do with my amazing team, we look at the start of life, a newborn baby, a baby that's very sick in intensive care. Is there a therapy for that child?
So the baby's born.
The baby's born.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know what's wrong with that baby? Is there a therapy in place for it? There may be not now. That's the unique selling point of P4ML. How we're going to do this is we have one of the world's largest population studies. 2 million patients over 5 years. And how are we going to get the samples and the patients? On the Dubai Fitness Challenge. We've got 3 million people getting active for 30 days for 30 minutes during the month of November. It's amazing, this city. It becomes a big gym with great energy. And we'll bring them in on a very nice consenting process where we get their permission and educate them on their lifestyle questionnaire. You know, a little bit about family background, their medical disposition. And we'll bring them on a gamification where they come in and do some nice tests, very simple tests like being on a treadmill, BMI, height, weight, all that kind of things. We'll ask for their saliva, their stool, their blood, their urine, once they consent, to break down a picture of what's happening in their body. Now, when we say cross-sectional is multiple different nationalities, which is hard to do. Longitudinal means they come back year after year after year. And the fitness challenge is a great mechanism to bring people back on a fun event. We'll use wearables. Everyone has wearables on them where we can potentially remote patient monitor, get their vitals. We can break down like a big jigsaw puzzle, bring it all together, what's happening in the body. And then that sits in like a vault, like a secure vault. And the only one that has the key to the vault are the government that can release that vault for pharmaceutical research. Okay, that's really my unique selling point is, and I know people love talking about data right now, but we need to look at, can we give intervention to the clinicians, or can we give information to pharmaceutical companies to make a future therapeutic? My unique selling point is the number of nationalities that live in this city, the sheer number of people who come in on the Dubai Fitness Challenge, and the ability to see P4ML and my team being kind and seeking their permission to take their bodily fluid, to break down what that looks like at a cellular level.
Do the patient get the data and then they allow the government to have it? Because there's a lot of, not this particular government, but we're talking worldwide now, there's a lot of distrust with governments. So how do you preserve that? And also, is this something that maybe in the future I go to my clinic, the doctor, my GP, and have that done? And finally, there's lots of questions, is that baby in intensive care can't do the Dubai Fitness Challenge.
Absolutely.
So how is he going to save the baby?
Absolutely brilliant questions here. So let's go back to the little baby in intensive care. That's a very separate project, okay? That's a very separate workflow.
So let's talk about the baby, because there's people out there who want to prevent losing loved ones. How can we?
Absolutely. And then, as I said, I'll go back earlier. We saw this week that the British government, or the NHS, wants every newborn baby to have rapid genome sequencing. You know, that's been done with the Beginnings NGS consortia with Dr. Stephen Kingsmore.
What's it, rapid genomes?
It's basically breaking down ACGT, which is like 6.4 billion letters. It's your DNA rapidly getting an answer with up to 502 medical interventions or drugs that will work. That's evolving. That's evolving and will come mainstream very soon. Baby can't sign their name at day one. If they can work for my company. Joke. But for us, we will only take not patients, but participants from the age of 18 to 60 that will fully consent. And our unique selling point is all those populations, all their really unique data that no one in the world will have, and using that as an encyclopedia or as a reference for Persian people, for Irish people, for Greek.
Okay, so the first thing you do is you find out the nationality of the child.
Yes.
Right, there's a reference point. And then is a blood sample taken?
We will take, with consent, blood, stool, saliva, and urine for different tests.
Okay, and then you take these and you cross-reference it against the
newborn.
Indeed.
And another thing, just I don't want to be cutting across on this.
Problem.
Like the key thing here is we're doing all these tests all over the world. You know, if we go to the hospital, we go for a blood test, we go for a urine test. It's not that we're not doing this already. We've got new clinics that come into, we've a new wave of health that all these tests are being combined. But You go to your doctor one day for a blood test, you go another day for a urine test. We're just bringing this all together and masking all this technology
I have
that's
an
been done.
investment in a company I'll share with you later.
Okay.
Is that what they do is, if you imagine, I've had 2 heart attacks and I've
Oh my
got
God.
data all over the place, and then I lose it. I move home and I go. I don't know where it is, but this particular company that I've invested in, you just take a picture, and the AI puts in kind of a database and gets in order. So wherever you go around the world, you have the data with you.
Wow, yeah. There's some amazing AI companies, and I'm very lucky. I actually sit on the ethics and research board of one of the biggest hospital groups as an external. I also lecture with a major university in Ireland in precision health and medicine. We are bringing in one of our partners. It's because I'm heavily involved with research. So a group in Ireland called Empower Data Governance. Ireland knows that it's got all the multinationals and data is the new oil. That's what everyone says. But the EU AI Act and GDPR and all these data governance standards come from that group, which we're affiliated to. You can be assured as a participant or a patient coming to my company, data sovereignty is of utmost importance, that samples and data stay in country. And what's more important for our company is consented samples should be allowed for research, and we want to give consented samples, which will be on the form, to the universities to even learn further about this. One of the key areas I'm working on is quantum key distribution. Why am I working on quantum key distribution is I never want the data to be hacked. Cyber crimes, geopolitical issues, the first thing they do is attack banks, they attack hospital infrastructure. Quantum key distribution won't allow that to happen. So that's an area over the 5 years we'll work on. We'll ensure that the data is still your ownership, but the sovereignty and the security is held with us and the government.
Indeed.
Okay?
Yes, thank you. Beautifully answered. Still going back to the baby.
Baby, okay.
So the baby, we take the samples, and then practically what happens? Goes to your laboratory, and does it go to a pharmaceutical company? And then what happens in hospital? Does this cell get taken to space? How fast does it come back? How does it work? When do you find out what's wrong with the baby?
As I said, I was in the US with a really famous Irish doctor who's pioneered this space. It's his technology. It's going to roll out globally. So that's coming into multiple countries around the world. Where we see ourselves is more complementary, not genome, but the whole omics or mass spectrometry workflow, which is done when your kids were born. You said it to me earlier. You have 4 children, and alhamdulillah, God is good to them, We do a heel prick test. We get the baby's heel, we prick it with blood, we get a dry blood spot card and put 4 drops of blood. That's 1960s technology. We can learn a lot more with more sensitive technology and equipment called mass spectrometry. We have a partnership with the world's largest company in the world, 155,000 staff, nearly $60 billion turnover, who signed a partnership with us. So we want to be that wheelhouse that now looks at how a drug will interact after we understand the genome. That's our part of this equation that we're building. That's another unique selling point, that we can understand future drug pathways. So we spoke earlier about the advent of space science and taking a cell line and sending it to space. So when your baby's born and we get a drop of blood and we run genome analysis or we run mass spec analysis, we're like 2071 or like this country, we're looking at the next 50 years. And to fast track and be disruptive, that's what we're about, is can we now support with the clinicians and the hospitals better intervention? When I say better intervention is more specific targeted biomarkers. Can we find in that blood in the next couple of years a potential new drug candidate? That's what I'm working towards. That's what P4ML stands for. And our world's largest multi-omic study, that acts like an encyclopedia of people from different countries. So all over the world, 30 years ago, we couldn't get on an airplane like that. It was true. Nobody was traveling. Now, I was chatting to Matthew and my team, who's amazing. She's like, our kids are expecting to go on 2 and 3 international holidays a year. I think I was 18 when I first travelled on a plane, but it's expected now. People are all over the world. We can get anywhere at any time zone. And people marry, and we have cross-sectional populations marry, so we're evolving as a human being, and so is the DNA evolving, and so are diseases evolving. So we are that next 10 to 20 years ahead supporting clinical decisions.
Is there anything available right now, or is it going to be available 2 years on because we're collecting data now?
We hope that at the end of our study in the next 2 to 3 years, not hope, we're positive that we will be looked upon as, wow, that P4ML, that guy kept quiet for 7 years. He was cooking. He's cooking. I like to keep a very low profile. I don't need to make lots of noise. I'm all focused on the research. I'm focused on what's happened from a regulatory compliance. This is really important in healthcare. And I believe what we will deliver, the world will want. And it will all stem from this country. It will all stem from Dubai. It will ensure that we build this trusted research environment and decentralized clinical trials. And what I mean by decentralized clinical trials is when a new drug has been developed, we have to recruit patients. We have to, with their consent, go on various different drug testing campaigns. Why would we give a potential new drug to an animal or to a human when we can actually get a cell line, put it in a petri dish,
and do it
send
individually?
it in space.
And do it individually.
Do it individually at a cellular level. And we are doing this in space. And what's really cool about space science, I'll never forget it. I'm asked, not with my P4ML hat on, but I'm asked because I was in the Dubai Future Foundation, can you bring in the best speakers in the world? Absolutely, because I know these people, I meet these people. I follow only good precision medicine people. We've collaborated with SpaceX and UCSD. We signed at Investopia a memorandum of understanding when we became a Future 100 company. And we spoke in the museum, and for the first time ever in the UAE, wow, this is the future. Not just the future. We were with these guys in San Diego 2-3 years ago, learning about their science, collaborating on the science. We bring these people into the UAE. They talk about the science. And now with the big fitness challenge, if we are able to consent to taking just one drop of blood, and we're not saying we're going to change and develop a new drug substance in the morning, we're hoping to develop the data that will make informed choices. But imagine being able to take a drop of blood or a cell line, send it to space, because all the pharmaceutical companies are focusing on space and looking at the aging process. What happens in 1 month in space is like 10 years on Earth, the aging process. And that's what we want to do for that little baby. So whilst this gentleman and Beginnings NGS are doing the whole genome sequencing, and they have the pharmaceutical companies that are willing to look at new drug pathways, P4ML is that company that's going, okay, we're here. We're not competing, we're complementing.
And we give you specific solutions.
We can offer a new solution that complements your current workflow, that looks at mass spectrometry, that looks at huge population data sets, that's consented. And we actually can work with pharma to send a cell line to space that sees the aging process. That could be in the next 5 to 10 years a candidate for a blockbuster drug. And maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, future babies that are born, there's hope. That's what I stand for as a person.
I get it now.
Now you get it.
Now
yes.
I get it. Finally we get there. I see.
It's hard because I'm a scientist at heart and I'm very passionate. And yes, people say to me, oh, you need to do a teaser here, a slide deck there. And an investor just I can't speak layperson language at times. It's like I get
Do you know what I
engrossed.
say? Hire someone.
Yes.
Because what happens is when people invest, they invest in the person. So they're going to invest in you, but they need to know what it does.
Absolutely.
Right? And what's the return on investment? So if I was looking at raising money and I'll know that the potential revenue is going to be 3 years, then I set myself for that.
Yeah.
I just put, I think, 12,000 trees in Georgia, and they told me that I'm not going to get any revenue for 3 years until olive trees.
I gotta. You should have made an investment in ash trees, and I'll tell you, it's a funny story. We were chatting before the podcast. I put up a very emotional post on LinkedIn. Nothing to do. Well, it has a bit to do with healthcare and science, but I'm from the countryside. I'm Irish. We have a national sport for anyone watching called hurling.
Yeah, I know hurling.
It's like crazy men with a stick that's made out of ash, and we have an ash shortage. So your next investment should be
Ash.
Should be ash. And
Ash in Ireland.
Ash in Ireland, and it's the fastest field game in the sport, and it's like we're in the gladiator studio right now.
Yes.
It's our culture, it's part of our DNA, and I love sport, and we grew up with this, and it's tribal.
It's similar to lacrosse, isn't it?
No, it's hurling. It's our passionate sport, and we're like gladiators and warriors on the pitch. It's a very tribal thing. So I was actually in Dubai, was it 2-3 weeks ago, and this game happened. First time ever in our sports history, we had a draw in a Munster final. It went to penalty shootouts. I didn't have access to watching it from Ireland. I was listening to it on my earpiece on the radio.
You getting all excited.
Trying to get in Twitter and X, and something happened. The referee got a cramp, and like one of the players stopped. It's a kind of an Irish thing to help the referee get back on his feet. They actually had to substitute the referee. The game was like ferocious. And I put a post up, and I think it resonated with the Irish community. I told you, it went viral. We have 215,000 plus likes. I'm not all about likes and shares, but I think what P4ML are going to do, we want this to go viral. We want the world to hear, and that's why I'm sitting opposite you. I have a story to tell. It's an emotional story about new babies that are potentially have an underlying condition, and the work that I'm doing on Omic Assist with all this population screening could be the next viral thing in
also
healthcare.
Prevention, right? So
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a reaction to somebody being sick. It could be prevention. You can see these potential problems 15 years ahead.
We have it with our wearables. We have big partnerships with wearable companies. We have so much data that comes off our bodies. Like, we're actually working with a big French company around GLP-1s, and they have a beautiful device. I was at CES in Las Vegas this year. By the way, I keep a low profile, as I said. I did 78 flights within 2 months. All over the world. I was back and forth. I did 3 or 4 flights in the US, and anyone I'm connected to on LinkedIn I meet, but I remember meeting this company. I wanted to work with them. The guy was looking at me. He was like, why is he standing at my boot? I'm very resilient, and I wouldn't leave.
Don't give up.
And I went to his team. I have to talk to this man. I'm running the biggest population study in the world. And eventually they put in, if you keep knocking, someone will answer the door. And he came over, and I said, I have ethics approval to screen 2 million people over 5 years. The guy couldn't give me a coffee quick enough.
Come in.
Yalla, come in. And I sat with him and I said, this is what we're trying to do. As you said, prevention. Wearables. Can we do remote patient monitoring? That's what we're doing on our study. And he was like, oh my God, Patrick, your mind, as we spoke about earlier, it rambles off. I'm very passionate, and I explained we want to do a 360 of the body, not just blood and stool and urine, but wearables, because wearables is the new future. I saw a beautiful company the other day making wearables from rings. We've got now devices we can put in our toilet where we can urinate against that look at drugs of abuse, and they look at biomarkers.
We're going to have tablets you eat, and it sends the data.
It already exists.
Is it? Wow.
So we're all about less intervention and non-invasive and monitoring the patient. And Omic Assist, our study, is going to bring the best of these wearables. Like this week, I made some beautiful announcements. It was planned. I want to cause chaos before everyone goes home in summer. It's like people didn't expect Patrick to make this board appointment and that board appointment and this partnership, and this podcast is also, I believe, going out.
Part of the launch, yes.
This is part of the strategy. I believe in you. I follow your gladiator story. you know, they say death by 1,000 lashes. I've been in the trenches, and I've a lady over here, Mattia, has joined my team. She's been, like me, knocking on the door. And this lady ran one of the biggest embassies with ambassadors behind her. And she's come in as my rock. Mattia is going to be our COO in Government Affairs. She's officially joined us. And Dariush, I have somebody in the trenches I never had before who believes in me, who has a family and is like big.
And it kind of double motivates you, doesn't it? Because you don't have just yourself.
We're
you
going to
have
be the
other people
biggest
who
company in
support
the
you.
UAE. Watch this space. But this lady has joined me, and her knowledge and her appetite for success. But she's grounded me, and you need that in the trenches.
You do.
And I feel that we're building something. Like, not many people got in the trenches with me. And I know Matty is sitting adjacent over here to me, and I just can't say thank you enough for her trust in me. And I'm building a board, and I'm building a team, and whoever comes into my culture, my business, it's about culture. It's like this gladiator suit behind you. You put on that coat of arms, and nobody is going to stop our colossal vision for sick babies to have intervention in the next 5 years for the next new drug entity.
Can you come in? Can you come in midlife? Somebody you can help people midlife. They don't have to be right at the beginning of life, right? So
absolutely.
What do you think of these people who they've forecasting when the body could pass? There's like this. I'm not going to mention names, but famous people have gone to his laboratory and said, "You got 10 years to live."
You know, again, I go back to Catholic Irish and living in an Arabic culture. I'm not God and I'm not Allah. You know, so when our time comes, it comes.
We can predict, right? Cells are aging.
There's a word, and again, look, it's a big buzzword. Mm-hmm. Longevity is a big buzzword in industry. And yes, I believe in artificial intelligence is very helpful. I would love if the wording would be like healthy aging. Mm-hmm. I just think healthy aging has a nicer ring to it. I do believe that we're no longer going to be collapsing, and I'm sorry to hear that you had a heart attack or two, that strokes and heart attacks are things that happen. But I think now neurological aging is going to be one of the biggest areas. My good friend, my really good friend that he's grew up with me, and we did all the bold things as kids. His poor dad and my uncle last year died of Parkinson's. Is neurological disintegration is what's happening. We're living much longer. So I'd rather quality of life and quality of aging.
Because we're living longer.
Yes.
You mean the brain is not geared up enough to live that long?
That's it, Dariush.
I recognize those patterns.
Yeah.
I forget what I was doing 5 minutes ago.
Well, I you know, for me, I have a brain of an elephant. Thank God. I have some memory. I can give a name that I met 10 years ago.
Wow.
In such a place. It's kind of an amazing trait to have. It is a gift to have, but I met a gentleman who's a very successful business owner, and he said, always work the grey matter, keep the grey matter active. And thankfully, my dad is in good health. Dad gets up in the morning, has a really good regime, walks the dogs, has a stable lifestyle, plays his cards. Yeah, Dad has a beer when he plays cards. He's playing golf. I hope he's not as good as me right now, but healthy aging is about keeping the brain active. And I think for us, we do want to work with a really successful centre. I'm not going to mention it on this podcast, but we are working with a group that are doing amazing work on cognitive function and reactive function and air therapies and whatnot. I went skiing. Would you believe this? I went skiing a couple of years ago on a trip called I'm not going to plug any radio stations, but it's an Irish radio station that does a lot for people of visually impaired, or the Irish guide dogs. Mm-hmm. If people know me from Ireland and the UAE, they know I sponsored a puppy with the Irish guide dogs. My friend went blind. I'm a big advocate for visually impaired. So it was funny. It's so Irish, actually. This ski trip was about helping visually impaired people down a mountain. And it became like a ritual that it was like the blind leading the blind. Irish people like drinking a lot of alcohol. It's our DNA. But there was too many drunk Irish people skiing down with blind people. So now we give a donation towards the trip.
Safer.
And one of the
The
last...
future's brighter, should we say.
yeah, sorry, I think that's a bit off the top. But I remember going skiing one day, and it was snowing really heavy, and a lady crossed my skis, and I lost my ski. And we were told, be careful because of avalanche warnings. I thought I was going to die. I genuinely thought I was going to die. My phone died. I'll never forget it, Dariush. I just said, Mum, please look down at me. Mum, please, because I lost my mum. And I don't know what happened. Out of nowhere, this ski instructor came down and brought me off the mountain. Another time it was my
There was no avalanche, though.
No, but I could have died there.
Sure,
It was cold and everything. Another time, driving down in Ireland to get a tooth removed on the day of my birthday, and I like driving fast, but carefully. And I could see this black cloud and these hailstones fell, and I did a 360 3 times in my BMW. I just closed my eyes and said, Mum, pray for me. So we don't know when we're going to die. Yes, we can maybe predict age, but who knows? Look at those poor people recently from an aircraft carrier that crashed. We don't know. Only God and Allah can tell us when we're going to pass on. But for me, if I can leave something behind me, a small legacy, and what P4ML stands for, a mantra of humanity and empathy for the patient. And yes, everyone talks about data. We will have a treasure chest. Any investor that wants to invest in a company that's doing good, I'm sitting here. Come to me.
How can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me in many ways. I'm on LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn.
Patrick Malone?
Patrick J. Moloney. They can find me on WhatsApp. They'll find my details on LinkedIn, but I would hope that they look at the profile going, you know what? He's actually doing something good for humanity. And look, I'm looking at this beautiful plaque from YouTube. I respect the work that you've done in this Gladiator series. And I see in January you've got a big event. I want to be one of your keynotes. They can meet me in January at your event.
We will talk.
Inshallah.
We will talk. Done. I think we should do second, third, fourth podcast episodes.
I'd love that.
We're going to monitor your progress until the day is launched. That's like fully launched, fully trading, names out there, and then we'll remember today.
I hope so.
And how we started it all. It'd be a pleasure.
I hope so, because as I said, I'm looking at that gladiator suit. When people didn't come in, I come in. When people told me I'd fail, I didn't fail. Like, I'll use the pandemic. A lot of people pivoted. I came in here and I was going, what am I doing, Patrick? Like, am I mad? Should I go back to Ireland and keep my other companies going? And I just grinded it out. I'm a resilient.
When you have a desire and you really have the vision, it's very difficult.
I can't stop.
Yeah, very difficult to
You see me today, it's like I'm a million miles an hour. It's like a beast that wants to come out of me. And like the whole space science is so exciting right now. P4ML, for everyone listening.
When you approach space, space, whatever it's called, what's it called? SpaceX?
No. I will name the professor because I want to see.
But it wasn't Elon Musk, was it?
We brought in this most amazing man. So I will mention him because I think it's important. He's doing it for the right reasons. The man has a boy that has epilepsy and autism, and Professor Alison Moretti is his name. Alison is in science the same reason for me to understand how we can maybe treat neurological disorders. He's supporting with brain organoids. And that man wants to be the first scientist to fly to space. He's trying to raise money. If anyone that's listening to this podcast wants to support someone with heart and a bit of fire in their belly, come to me first. Okay. And then if there's some spare change, I will happily see Alison go to space because we'll collaborate with
It's interesting when you say space and Elon Musk's company, they do so many other things.
Yes.
It's not just sending, goods to space.
Space is so cool.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, look, one of the key things I'm working on is quantum key distribution, because I think in the future, in this country, can I just say about the UAE, I remember coming in here to this country, Dariush, and seeing this drawing for the Museum of the Future going, that'll never happen. No way, not the whole.
How can a building be
How
like
can
this?
they build that? And then it started. And I would remember going to Starbucks, and, I was on about being Irish. And I could hear this Kerry accent. It's like a part of Ireland. Jeez, another Irish lad has come in.
They're working on the building.
They were the guys behind the building. And I will tell you, at the Museum of the Future, after 3 years, I could not believe that this thing was being built. But
It's so fast.
underneath the museum is like a facade. The outside is a facade with beautiful calligraphy, but underneath the structure, this, do you know what? The Museum of the Future is a great example of what P4ML are doing. Underneath the structure is like your bone, your skeletal structure, but they were putting in and out this piece like Meccano for His Highness and the Crown Prince to sign their name. There's an Irish signature, 2 Irish signatures in a shamrock inside the Museum of the Future from Irish. We built the world, but I'm so proud of that.
So it wasn't you then in the background.
But not many people know that. And
right underneath, stuck with chewing gum, is Patrick J. Maloney.
But the facade, and that's what I think P4ML are. We're getting down to that granular level. We're getting down to a skeletal, a neurological, a cellular level. And the facade on the outside of like the museum and that beautiful calligraphy is what we're going to do with data. That beautiful calligraphy will be the future therapies for those sick kids.
So ultimately, thank you for that, because we want to close now, but ultimately you use the data and modern technology for prevention and dealing with sickness in the shortest possible time.
That is where we're
individualizing it.
At a cellular level, individualizing. Yeah. And that's what precision medicine stands for. And there's no silver bullet for this. We have a lot of data in silos. There's a lot of other groups around the world moving in the oncology space, but we're very much rare disease, chronic and rare neurological disorders. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I'm focused on. And I'd be honored for you to follow my progress.
Done.
Because this is going to be exciting.
Done.
Yeah,
Done.
Let's do it.
Absolute pleasure.
Love it.
I salute you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Gladiators, see you next time. And next time with Patrick, I would say in about 6-7 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.